So the thing that inspired me the most is kind of a sad event. So on December the 26th of 2003, my first husband, State Trooper Nick Green, was gunned down by a man manufacturing methamphetamine about a mile from our front door. I was, as I said, a former teacher, educator, married to a state trooper. Heard him talk about methamphetamine and the true epidemic that was going on, and especially in the state of Oklahoma at the time. And so after his loss, I feel like my education and learning about drugs, namely methamphetamine, was just almost vertical. I realized real quick that I didn't know half of what I needed to about this evil drug. I was doing parent-teacher conferences with people that were meth addicts, and I had no idea the signs. And so I kind of reasoned within myself that if I didn't know, as a teacher and working with students and being married to law enforcement and being very involved with the law enforcement realm, if I didn't know the dangers and the issues of drugs in society, then there was probably a likelihood that most people in the community and even the state or other states were not aware either. So I became very passionate about raising awareness. We worked really hard. I worked with legislators and the Highway Patrol in Oklahoma to pass a law that would put the precursors to manufacturing methamphetamine at the time, which was Sudafed, putting that behind the counters so that we couldn't just have people go in and buy it by the case, because that was happening. So there became a law, and that changed things drastically. Unfortunately, we see those things wax and wane, and they find new methods and new avenues, and so we could sit here and talk for hours on, all the ways that they find loopholes. But at the time, that made a huge impact, and I became very passionate about making a difference and using my story, my loss, if you will, to make things better for someone else. I couldn't change my situation, and I couldn't bring Nick back, but if I could do something to protect someone else and to continue being the educator that I know I was called to be, then that's what I wanted to do, and I was very passionate about that.
I guess it would start, my mom passed away the morning after her 27th birthday. I was in 3rd grade, and I was with foster parents and step parents already, so I didn't know what family was like. I always felt like the outsider. And so I left at an early age to find something different. And I started doing drugs, I started partying, I started stealing. I was living on the streets at one time. Just the worst version of myself, of things you see that happens to girls in movies that you were like, oh my gosh, I never want that to happen to me. Well, I lived it, and it's not fun. It was horrible, but all I could figure out that was always there for me was just drugs. That was it. And then fake friends, people who had drugs or who were partying. And now, I have my children back. I have a great husband. I have a great relationship with my parents, with my siblings, even people in this community. Like, I'm not scared to talk to the police officers or the sheriff's office or the state troopers. I'm not scared anymore. Like, I have found the light at the end of the tunnel, and it is because of STOMP. Like I said earlier, I don't know where I would be. I'd probably be dead or in prison, and that's no fun. And I actually told someone, I think a week and a half ago, just out of the blue, and this hasn't happened in a long time, someone asked me about drugs, and I was just like, look, I don't do it, I don't associate with it, I don't associate with people that do it. So, and then I told him, but I will tell you, once you throw the stuff down, life gets better. You have things in life, whether it be a vehicle, your family, your kids, a house. It gets so much better.
My most bottom point for me would be when I was in a very abusive relationship, getting, just my identity torn down every single day. Very not wanting to use drugs, but using drugs because I felt that I had to out of the abuse, and not having any water or electricity, and just hit that ultimate, I can't believe that this is my life moment. Yeah. And I mean, I sold my living room TV to get gas money so that I could go to court, so that I could turn myself in to go to prison. I wanted to go to prison to get out of that situation. Once a person makes that spiritual step and makes that decision, because let's face it, addiction, being addicted to drugs is a decision. The more you tell a person that it's a disease, the more you're going to keep them in that victim mindset. And so once they do make that decision, then an organization like STOMP can show them the steps that they need to take in order to get their life back. I mean, if you would have told me 5 years ago, whenever I got out of prison, that I'd be where I am today, I would have laughed. I would have said, no, you're crazy. And God He keeps showing out, and it's amazing. I believe that if there would have been an organization like STOMP whenever I had just found marijuana at 12 and then meth at 16, our programs go in that school every week when we have one-on-one mentorships with those kids. Therefore, I don't feel that had there been a program like STOMP, I wouldn't have fallen through the cracks so easy, and that, you know, they would have recognized the signs that I was slipping into full-fledged meth addiction, and it would have changed the whole trajectory of everything.
STOMP, just be a part of our community, an active part of our community, just whether it be any community event, you'll see STOMP there providing outreach, educational programming, outreach services. They sponsor a summer camp for students that are in the middle school age group, just to really students that come from difficult home lives, and they get them out and just introduce them to law enforcement, first responders. They do a lot of fun activities with these students, and it really just lets them know that there are opportunities that they can break through the cycle of drug abuse in their family situations. So I think STOMP's been a wonderful blessing to the Jacksboro community. I know they're an organization, as a school district, we can always depend on if there's a need to be able to connect them with families and students in need. So I'm very grateful for STOMP's presence, and would encourage anyone that's interested in supporting the organization to provide that financial support, because that is so critical in this day and age. School districts, law enforcement agencies, we can't fight the war on drugs as entities alone. We have to have support programs like STOMP in our communities, and so it's very vital.
I started in law enforcement back in 1989, and from that progression forward, you know, we would deal with the LSDs, you know, some marijuana. Really didn't see, you know, a big deal on meth. I'm sure it was there. Cocaine was pretty big back then as well. But we're starting to see more and more what I'm going to call dangerous drugs, more marijuana that's being laced with fentanyl, more meth that's coming out. You know, it's grown to a bigger problem. One of the biggest misconceptions of drugs amongst youth is, again, the fact that they think that just one hit on a marijuana cigarette or, you know, one thing of meth, it's not going to hurt them, that they can break the addiction, that they can try it and be done with it. The body doesn't work that way. And these kids just don't understand the fact that once they try it once, it's really, really tough to break that habit.
So as the founder of Jack County STOMP and now retired director, I just want everyone to understand that STOMP's mission has not ended. And if anything, I feel like it's in a way just beginning. It's just beginning to take off. It takes time to develop a program, and this has definitely been something that started semi-small with just my volunteer work, and then it turned into me a part-time employee to running with 2 and 3 employees at the time, and us doing everything we can to impact, our schools and our communities. More and more programs have been developed, and I see Jack County STOMP continuing to grow and to continue to launch into something even bigger than what probably Linda could imagine at the time it being. And so we just really hope that people will get behind it. They will see the great things that have been done and also have a vision for the things that are to come, the things that are going to be done, and the students impacted, the community impacted. We hope that our vision can be something that you can be a part of, and it can be a part of your mission to make a difference as a community member.